What's up guys, XM360 here, and in today's video I have another laser pointer courtesy of banggood.com to review. This one is going to be the UKing J10L 520 nanometer green laser. It comes in a black host, and I believe this model is advertised on their site as 1 watt. They sent me this one as a sample product to review, so I'm not exactly sure because they didn't list the power, but their site has 3 different options: 1 milliwatt, 2 milliwatt, or 3 milliwatt, and the only one that's actually available is 3 milliwatt. The other 2 are grayed out. And then if you scroll down below, it says that their 3 milliwatt is actually 1 watt, and they most likely just write 3 milliwatt because they want to get around shipping laws. So for the purpose of this video, this one I do believe is advertised on their site as a 1 watt laser. We will test that out with an LPM later on in this video, but it sells on their website for $152, and I'll put a link down below to that. And it comes in 2 different versions, one with a US charger and one with a European charger. And it is nice to see that the box does carry the UKing branding as well, instead of just some generic Chinese like laser pointer box that doesn't really have any branding on it. Now this does ship from China, so it will take you, the website advertises 7 to 20 business days on the shipping time. Inside the package here are a little guarantee card, some banggood.com stickers, and then this little instruction sheet here. And this doesn't appear to be like specific to this one model of laser. It just seems to be something that they include with all of their lasers. It doesn't reference the J10 anywhere on here. And it also comes with 2 16340 1600 milliamp 3.7 volt batteries, and they are UKing branded, which is a nice little touch too. They're not just your generic Ultrafire branded batteries. The charger is the generic charger that you get with like all Chinese lasers. It charges 2 at once, and it has a little LED indicator light, but I know half the time those will just always stay blinking even when the batteries are charged. This is the US version of the charger. And then there's the laser itself, and the host is pretty nice. It's full metal construction. I do like the black host a lot. It has a push on, push off button on the very bottom. The laser comes out of the very top, obviously. I'm going to give you guys a little zoom in here on the safety label, which is virtually useless because it has a bunch of options and none of them are actually crossed off. So yeah, that doesn't really help me out at all. But anyways, to insert the batteries into this laser, you unscrew the center of the laser, and that will let you get to the inside where you insert the 2 16340 batteries. So those 2 batteries will both be inserted the same way. You're going to put the positive end down towards the button of the laser and the negative end up towards the tip of the laser. And then you can just screw it back together, and they usually ship these out with a little bit of a charge on the battery, so right out of the box you should be good to go to test out the laser. Now, one very important thing is that this does not come with laser safety glasses, and those are mandatory. They're not optional. You could really mess up your eyes if you don't use laser safety glasses. I'll put a link down below to a good pair. Definitely use some laser safety glasses with these, because this is not a toy. This can cause some serious eye damage. So as you guys can see, this does come with a little bit of a charge, and this laser also has an adjustable focus. So on the very top of the laser, there is another section that you can screw and unscrew, and you're not going to unscrew it all the way to the point that it comes off, but by unscrewing and screwing the top of the laser, you'll be able to adjust the focus and focus it in and out, making the beam very fine at one point, and you'll create like a focal point, and that's how you're going to do some burning. And I'm going to do a burn test later on in this video, but that's how you focus the laser on the very top. So I'm now going to move on to showing you guys what this laser looks like in some different lighting levels. The first one is a somewhat dimly lit indoor setting, and the beam is clearly visible, and that dot is very bright. The beam is more visible when you're looking down the axis of the laser, not as visible when you're looking at it from the side. And one thing that you may be able to visibly notice here is that this beam on this laser is somewhat crooked. It's definitely slanted to one side, and there is a visible crookedness to it. It's not a major crookedness, but every time I'm testing out a laser, this is one of the things I'm kind of critical on, because I always notice it right away. So this one does have a slightly crooked beam. And one thing I'm noticing too is that the button on this one, I don't know how well you guys can hear it because I keep the volume kind of low on this, but the button on this one kind of rattles just the slightest bit, not a whole lot though. Moving on to a midday outdoor setting, the beam is not visible, but the dot is very visible outdoors. Even in sunlight, you can see that dot from several hundred feet away. And moving to a nighttime outdoor setting, this is where you're going to get the best results. You can see that beam very well even when viewing it from the side, and the dot is very, very bright. And I say this in all my laser videos, and I'll probably continue to say it. Nighttime is when these lasers are the most visible, and therefore it's usually when people get in the most trouble too. So you want to keep these things on your own property. Don't aim them in your neighbors' yards or at your neighbors' houses. Don't aim them at any vehicles, planes, anything living. Anything that would get you in trouble. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you know, people still do it, so I feel the need to mention that you should never do any of this stuff. And you're gonna see me stupidly drop the laser here, and it doesn't break, which is a good thing, so it is somewhat drop proof, I guess. Moving on to the LPM test, I'm using my LaserBee A LPM, and I'm gonna do 3 separate tests here on the power. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure on what this one's supposed to be. I believe it's supposed to be advertised on their site as 1 watt. Looking at the first test, it definitely isn't 1 watt. After speeding things up a bit here, I'm only clocking in at around 130 milliwatts. Moving on to test 2, I'm getting a very similar result, around 125 milliwatts. And for test 3, I'm also getting around 125 milliwatts. So on average, this one's clocking in between 120 and 130 milliwatts. We'll just break even at, we'll say 125 milliwatts on the power for this one. So it's definitely under spec. I mean, looking at that product listing page, I do believe this is advertised on their website as a 1 watt laser, but even the lowest advertised rating for this laser, one of the grayed out options, was 200 milliwatts. So no matter what, this laser is coming in under spec at just 125 milliwatts, and that is with the included batteries charged to full capacity. I'm going to move on to the burning test now here, and I am using, this laser is already focused in to the best of its ability. I'm using a sink full of water, a stone backdrop so I don't burn my walls, and I am using my laser safety glasses. And as you guys can see, this thing's making pretty short work of these red top matches. It's lighting them in pretty much under 5 or maybe even under 3 seconds when I have it in just the right spot here. I'm still kind of figuring out where my focal point is because it's tough to see it in the light. I'm also going to burn some other things. I have some electric tape here, and I'm going to see if I can cut all the way through. So it did take me a little bit of time here, but it did cut right through it, and that's pretty good, I think, for this laser and for the power on this one. I think that was pretty good. Next up, I have a red balloon, and it just pops that one instantly. No hesitation there. And then the last thing I have is a piece of cardboard. It's a piece of brown cardboard, and it's kind of like a waxy material, so I don't know how well it's going to burn it. Immediately I do see smoke coming off the cardboard, but it's not really generating any big black burn spots or any orange flame areas, so it's not doing a very good job at burning the cardboard. And I know I said the cardboard was going to be the last thing I burned, but I did just have like a little empty coffee cup sitting next to me here, so I figured I'd try to burn some little holes in the black plastic lid of it. And this laser was able to burn some little holes in it within maybe 10 seconds. And before I move on to the reviewing aspect of this, I did want to just quickly show you guys in a fog room what the color comparison looks like of this 520 nanometer 125 milliwatt laser I'm reviewing here versus a 532 nanometer 90 milliwatt laser. So the 532 is the thinner beam, and the 520, the one I'm reviewing right now, is the thicker beam. You can see that the 532 is more of a lime green, whereas the 520 is more of a forest green. And the 532 is DPSS, which produces a a much finer beam and dot, whereas 520 is a diode, a direct diode color, so the beam is a lot wider and more rectangular in shape instead of circular. It's a pretty cool comparison, and I've done videos on this before, but I figured I would show you guys in this one because these two lasers are very similar in power, only around a 30 milliwatt difference. So moving on to the reviewing aspect of this, I have some mixed feelings about this laser. I liked the host a lot. I felt that the host was pretty nice. I mean, the button rattled a little bit, but that wasn't a huge issue. And the beam was slightly crooked, but overall the host was pretty solid. I liked the solid construction, and the adjustable focus was pretty nice too. I was okay with what was included in the package. I felt like I had everything I needed, and I liked how UKing had their own branded box and batteries, and everything didn't just come in a generic Chinese packaging. My main issues with this one come in the fact that it is under spec on the power rating. I'm not sure on exactly how under spec, but I'm almost positive that it is under spec by 900 milliwatts, or maybe around 870 milliwatts, because from what I can see on the website, I do believe the only model of the J10L that they sell is the 1 watt model, or what they're advertising as a 1 watt model, but in reality is a 125 milliwatt model. And the price of 152 is pretty steep for me too. With everything I've seen with this laser and the power testing and the burning ability and the beam quality, and this beam did have pretty nice divergence too, I wanted to say. Pretty tight beam profile when I focused it in. I could see myself realistically paying maybe somewhere in the ballpark of $70 to $80 for this one. If it was advertised correctly with the actual power and the actual specs and everything, and if that label, the little safety label on it, was filled out correctly, I could see myself paying maybe around $70 for this laser. But 152 is kind of steep for this laser being so under spec. So with all that in mind, I'd probably give this product as it is right now a 7.5 out of 10. There are some major things that need to be fixed here, but it is a good laser. It just needs to be advertised properly. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. If you guys found this review helpful in any way at all, hit that like button down below. And if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for lots of awesome laser pointer videos just like this. And as always guys, thank you for watching from XM360.